Welcome to the Euro Truck Simulator 2 Keyboard Road Warrior series. This is Movie Scouse 007, and we're going to carry on where we left off. At the end of the last video we'd reached Esbjerg. Yes, there's been a change of pronunciation. I've since discovered that the city we drove to in the last video isn't actually pronounced Esbjerg, it's actually pronounced Esbjerg. Never mind, you live and learn. So, we arrived in Esbjerg, and now we're going to go to the job market and get ourselves a new job. Now, as I said earlier, my preferred way of playing this game is to go from city to city. You don't have to in the quick drive. With the quick job offers, you can go from city. You're delivered. Literally, you are delivered at the city you go to. But I want to start as I mean to carry on. So, as we discussed, these are the lorries that we could potentially drive, and that's what I'm going to do with these quick drive videos. Is that I'm going to drive a lorry that I haven't tried, or drive a lorry, that we won't see later on in the video series, because obviously I favour Volvo. Volvo is my chariot of choice. So you can see I've highlighted here the Mercedes Actros high roof sleeper, and that will be dragging oranges from Esbjerg to Malmö. So we're going to select that particular job there. It's going to give us £4,234. And we're going to be dragging 22 tons from Denmark to Sweden. So let's select that job and let's take it. And we will be taken to the depot to pick up our oranges. And there we are. So this is the Mercedes Actros. You can see, because I've downloaded the mod, we've got the beautiful three-pointed star. You'll see on the dashboard in the centre of the dashboard above the vents, you'll see the word Actros. It's a little garish for me. The bright sort of rusty brown steering wheel. The rest of the cab is quite nice, actually. I've got to be honest, the rest of the cab is nice environment, but that rusty brown steering wheel is a bit off-putting. It's a bit garish. It's the sort of thing that you're going to see at night when you're driving, and you don't want distractions. You just want to see the road ahead. So let's rock and roll. Let's fire her up. Let's hear the horn. Ooh, that's a nice horn. Okay, that's where that is. Okay, they're all working. I've discovered that you can put your hazards on. If you're having an issue on the road, you can actually stick your hazards on, and that's the F key. F for Foxtrot. Became apparent to me that my accent might not be as clear to those for whom English is not a first language, or if you're from the Americas, it might not be clear when I say. So if I quickly go over those keys again, so L for Lima for the lights, K for kilo for the high beams, P for Papa for the wipers, F for Foxtrot for the hazards, and it's the square open bracket for left and the square closed bracket for right indicators. Okay, let's make a move. So we're going to head off. So we're going to head off. We're going to Malmö. So we're going from one Scandinavian country to another. This is fully utilising that beautiful mod. Oh, we've got mail. I've a feeling that is a bank or a Volvo dealership. Oh, we've got two bits of mail. Yep, a bank and a dealership. Oh no, it's not a dealership, I do beg your pardon. It's a business called LKW Log GmbH. I think GmbH is the German version of limited. So, let's get back to the truck. So, we are golden, let's go. You can see we've got a lovely curtain-sided lorry for this journey with the oranges. No doubt it's pallets of oranges. I'm gonna try again and go for as safe a journey as we possibly can. So, try not to break those rules. Try to get our driver rating up. Try to demonstrate that keyboard driving is just as good and as safe as steering wheel driving. So we've got a 70k speed limit. We won't have a problem delivering 7 we won't have a problem not speeding in this truck. This isn't a particularly high-end truck. It's alright. Again, it's not my favourite interior. It's not bad. It's a significant improvement aesthetically on the Renault that we were driving in the last video. Oh, we can go up to 100 now. I don't know that this feels a lot more sluggish. I've got to be honest. The Renault and this Mercedes feel a little more sluggish than the beautiful Globetrotter, the Volvo FH16 that we were driving on our first journey from Liverpool to Manchester. But then that's a high-end truck. That's I mean, this isn't the lowest end of the Mercedes range, but I don't think it's got a particularly high-end engine. It feels alright once you've got it going now. So obviously we can't literally talk about the ins and outs of driving in Euro Truck Simulator for every video, because that would get tremendously tedious. So we're going to find another subject to talk about. If you want to suggest something to talk about, be my guest. Type away in the comments section. That's always useful, because I haven't got an undersupply of ideas in this dense bonce of mine. But I thought we'd talk about gaming on PC versus console in this. As I'm recording this, in my home country in the UK, both the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 have been released to great fanfare and to mixed reviews. There are a lot of people claiming that you really should go with the Xbox One, and there are good reasons why they're saying that. There's a very well-respected YouTuber called Total Biscuit, who also goes by Total Halibut and also by the handle the Snickle Brit, who is saying that right now you should go with the Xbox One, but obviously the PS4 has got more gaming life in it in the future. I'm going to take issue with that. Yes, in the immediate future, the Xbox One has probably got a couple more exclusives, but most people who are buying a console, they're not buying the console for the day one releases. They're buying the console because that's the console they're going to use for the entire life. Most people cannot afford to have more than one console. I didn't get a 360 in the last generation. I got a PlayStation 3. I haven't had an Xbox. I've played Xbox. My brother-in-law had an Xbox, and so my first experience with Grand Theft Auto 4 was on the Xbox. It was alright. I mean, I didn't buy one because at the time I was buying one, the Xbox had a terrible reputation for failing. In fact, I think it's safe to say that in the first half of the Xbox 360's life, it had a greater reputation for the Red Ring of Death than it did for the games you could play on it. I knew more about the Red Ring of Death than I did about Halo until I actually got my hands on an Xbox 360. So I don't have a particular bias towards Sony because I am a particular fan of that particular console. I had a PlayStation 1 which I used for a year and then became a PC gamer because console gaming at that time just didn't do it for me. And I was very tempted to get a 360 based on the games. I mean, I really wanted to play Mass Effect and I really wanted to play Halo, Gears of War, and I would have done so. I would have bought a 360 if the 360 hadn't been such an utter boatload of crap. I'm sorry, but if a third of your consoles are coming back to you to be repaired, and then you're selling on those refurbished consoles as brand new, allegedly, then my hard-earned cash isn't going to go to your company. My hard-earned cash is going to go to a company that had I think it was an 8% failure rate as opposed to a 35 or 45% failure rate, depending on who you believe. So with the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, it's a different story in terms of what to buy. They're different for very different reasons. In the previous generation, the 360 was essentially just a cut-down computer in a box, a cut-down PC in a box with controllers, whereas the PlayStation 3 had a proprietary cell processor, which was a very different prospect. It's the main reason why there were so many issues when it came to multi-platform games. The PlayStation 3 had a much more capable piece of hardware, which is why single platform games, the console exclusives like Uncharted, looked so much better than anything that the 360 could ever produce. The cell processor was a staggering piece of technology, but because it was so different from the 360, and because most developers were developing on PC, which was then much easier to sort of translate to console than it was to translate from PC to cell processor. The PS3 game, multi-platform games, either you couldn't tell the difference because the developer worked really hard to do that, or the PS3 version just looked awful, and for all the wrong reasons. Primarily because the time between a developer finally going, there's nothing more we can do to that before deadline day, and making their game gold, and then actually shipping them is such a tight timeline that it becomes impractical then to have to spend all that extra time making the PS3 version pretty. With the PS4 and the Xbox One, they're using the same CPU, they're using an x86, they're using the same manufacturer, they're using the same manufacturer's graphics card. The differences lie in the way that it's processing the graphics, and also in the RAM. The Xbox One is using DDR3, which has been around for quite a while, whereas the PlayStation 4 is actually using DDR5, which is much more advanced, a much newer RAM type. I don't fully understand the ins and outs of this, but I'm wondering whether that had something to do with the reason that at launch Call of Duty Ghosts was running at 1080p on the PS4, but only 720 on the Xbox One. Now, the way the game's processed, I've looked at the uncompressed videos, and you struggle. I'm struggling to see the difference. It might just be because I'm not very good at seeing those differences, or it may be because there is actually not much difference at all. I don't know. But the fact remains that I can't see much difference between the 720 Xbox One version and the 1080p PS4 version. We're at a toll. This is our first toll booth, and we're being asked to pay £124, which is fine. There are tolls all over mainland Europe, not so much in Eastern Europe, but there are a few tolls in Scandinavia, and they're long toll roads. There are significantly more toll roads in France. Literally, I use the word literally poorly, and I hate it when people use the word literally poorly. There are many, many more toll booths in France than there are in any other part of the map, and that is actually an accurate representation of the situation. In the UK, where I'm from, toll booths are non-existent for anything except there's a small section of the M6, which is possibly one of the busiest and one of the worst motorways in the United Kingdom. It is and everyone talks about the M25, but I think the M4 and the M6 are notorious in the UK for very different reasons. The M25 circles London. I don't know what people expected. When you are driving around, if you are driving around London, which has, by a wide margin, I think it's 8 times the population of the next largest city in the United Kingdom, then yes, you're going to be on a busy road. But the M4 is notorious because it is. There are traffic jams for very different reasons. It's not because of the high volume of traffic. There is a high volume of traffic, but the M4 is more notorious, because it seems people go to drive on the M4 to drive badly. I don't know what it is about the M4, whether it's the people that live on the M4 corridor are just worse drivers, or the road conditions are such that it causes more accidents. But the M4 just seems to have more accidents than any other motorway I've ever driven on. Whereas the M6 is bad because it links up with 2 other massive north-south arteries. It links up with the M5 and it links up with the M40. The M5 comes from the south of England and goes through Bristol, and we're running out of fuel. Our employers were not very friendly, and they didn't give us a great deal of fuel. We've only got an hour and a half to go, so I think we can... Let's just check out the map. Let's press the map key, M for mother, and let's cycle in, see how close we are to Malmö. See whether I reckon we can make it. Well, it doesn't matter whether I think we can make it or not. There isn't a fuel stop before then, so we kind of got no choice. Okay, I press M for mother again, and that takes me back to the road. Yes, so because the M6 links up with those 2 massive arteries, the M5 coming through Bristol and Birmingham, and the M40 coming from London through Oxford. It goes through Oxford, and then Birmingham. So and so you're getting a large amount of traffic from two directions, and they all link up in Birmingham. So you're adding the second largest city in England and the third largest city in the United Kingdom's traffic up north is coming through the M6. So where the M6 and the M5 and the M40 join at Birmingham, the M6, the M5 and the M40 essentially become traffic jams, but for some reason it tends to hurt the M6 more. I don't know. My guess is that because the M6 carries on up north, whereas the M40 and the M5 kind of die at Birmingham. But yes. Anyway, so we were talking about consoles. I'm going to go with a PlayStation 4 primarily because I want a gaming console to play games. In the long run, the PlayStation 4's architecture is more advanced and more powerful. We've already seen that with one of the first major multi-platform releases in Call of Duty Ghosts, that the Xbox One, the developers have chosen to release it. So this is not Xbox. This is not Microsoft forcing the developers to do it into 720 to render it in 720. This is the developers choosing to do so, which tells me that that perhaps the Xbox isn't as easy to develop for as the PlayStation. Bearing in mind that the PlayStation was incredibly hard for multi-platform developers to deal with, and this is one of Sony's this is one of the pillars of their selling the PlayStation 4 at their launch event in New York. They were saying they really listened to developers and to consumers and what developers and consumers wanted. £161 to pay an auto. It's getting expensive to go to Malmö. They listened to the developers and they listened to consumers, and they really they have really gone wholeheartedly for gamers and developers and said, look, we want to be the number one console for gaming, whereas Xbox really have gone for the home entertainment market. I don't know. I can see where that would be a winning strategy in the United States. They have opened up with a number of options that really allow you to use services that are widely available in the US, things like Hulu and Netflix. And we've got Netflix in the UK, but the problem with Netflix in the UK is it's a shadow of its American counterpart. It's like the inbred cousin compared to the service that's on offer in the United States. I don't know that and they're also really heavily marketing Kinect not as a tool for gaming, but as a UI tool, a user interface tool. I don't want to talk to my telly or my game console. I feel stupid. We've got buttons. We've had buttons on a controller. And when I chat when I'm gaming, I chat. If my wife's in the room with me, I chat with her. If I've got my friends on Skype while I'm gaming, I chat with them. I don't want my console to stop doing what it's doing because I didn't stop in time. I got a speeding fine of £280. Well, that's torn it. Oh, that's torn it. That's made me sad. So I don't want to chat. I want to be able to chat to my friends without worrying that my chatting to my friends will interrupt my gaming somehow. So, as cool and as interesting as that is, I'm not that interested. I am interested in some of the aspects of the sort of non-button pushing interface, but to be honest, so I will get the PlayStation Eye, so that it works with my DualShock 4. But I don't I will not be able to afford 2 consoles. I'm just not in that position, and I have a large number of friends who are on the PlayStation 4 ecosystem, and to be honest, we've discovered a Mercedes dealership. Excellent. To be honest, that is the biggest reason why I'm going to stick with PlayStation. I think it's going to be the biggest reason why most people stick with the console they've got. It's because that's where their friends are. So I have a number of friends on the PlayStation Network. I was never ever going to bust the 100 friends list on PlayStation. Frankly, I don't want to. It would get so annoying having that little thing bing up in the corner of my screen saying so and so is online. I watched a video recently of a very popular YouTuber. I think it was Wiki Games Guide. I can't remember. It might have been. Actually, no. It was Boogie to 988. The hilarious chap that has that online YouTube persona called Francis, which puts me in fits of giggles. Yes, he was doing a demonstration of, I think it was a game or the user interface, and literally as soon as a friend online notification arrived on his screen and went off, the next one would come up. So you were being introduced to pretty much all of his friends one by one. And that's not for me. I don't want my game screen. I don't want the fourth wall to be constantly battered down by friend notifications. I've got a handful of friends. I think I've got like 15 friends, and that is enough for me. It's manageable. I don't see them coming online every 5 seconds, and sometimes I want to know that they're online. I want to know that my friends have booted up their PlayStation just in case I want to go online and play games with them. So so I was never going to bust the 100 friends, and of course now PlayStation allows you to have 1,000 friends, and that's probably a great deal more than I actually need. Let's see if we can get this in one go. We had, as you remember, a tremendously horrible time getting it in last time, and this is not going to be one go. Yeah, no, this is not going to be one go. Ooh, we got it. 2 goes. That was a vast improvement over my first 2 parking assignments. So, let's see how we did. We're going to unhook the cargo, and this is our job completed screen. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that excellent rating. Oh, and we've gone up to level 2. We're more than halfway through level 2. That means we're going to be able to assign a skill point, which I will do at the beginning of the next journey. So let's just take a quick photo of that. You're going to hear the photo option. You can actually take photos all the way through. I'm going to take a little photo of my job completed screen. I'm going to take a photo of my my profile as my driving skills develop, so that when we come to the end of this little adventure, when we come to the end of the keyboard road warrior, I will produce a little sort of gif of my skill levels going up, which I hope will be amusing. you'll be able to see how our skills progressed. Now let's quickly go through the job completed form. 373k to 5 hours 25 minutes of in-game time, 184.4 litres of fuel. We got a base reward of £4,172 and 373 XP, 1 XP for every kilometre of driving. We got a proficiency bonus of £62 because we were level 1 at the time we drove, and we got our parking bonus of 45 XP, giving us £4,234 and 418 XP. We are 1,095 out of 114, 1,400 XP for level 3. We're still a noob at level 2, but we got an excellent rating. And aside from the traffic camera fine, I think we did pretty well. So that's going to be it for this journey. I'm Movies Gaz 007, and see you on the road.